Hello everybody. I started this stream earlier. Um, 5 minutes, it's not a big deal. And I returned to the house in Fata Morgana again. It's already 12th part of our journey in mysteries of this particular mansion with witches, beasts, really close relatives who really likes each other. Yeah, so this is the part 3 in our story in general about one man who had a lot of money, who definitely lived in America of 19th century, I guess, when a transcontinental railroad was built. Yeah, this menu music is really creepy, but beautiful. And hi, Nikis. Let's continue. Probably this part. No, not this. Wait a second. Yeah, probably this. It was a big pause between streams because on my recent schedule on Wednesday I thought I too tired to participate in this game after a hard day of work and watching something on streams. But right now I feel better, so return to the story. The white-haired girl, our poor thing. Again, she was bullied by her husband. Looking down dejectedly at the undrunken tea, the white-haired girl walked alone down the corridor. Though Colin's scent filled the air, there was nobody around to have their heart warmed by it. Nor was there anyone to alleviate her loneliness. Despite being the master's wife, the maids who crossed her path in the hall said nary a word to her. But this particular music track, with these kind of a gibberish lyrics, so distractive, I guess. As a matter of fact, huh? Oh dear, I beg your pardon, madam. It's fine. One even bumped into her, stifled a laugh as she trotted off. In all likelihood, she had done it intentionally. The poor white-haired girl who had fallen to the floor stared helplessly at the broken cups. The tea she had made for her husband was forming a stain in the carpet. The maid's behavior toward the mistress of the house was absolutely unacceptable. Nevertheless, it was commonplace, all because of the way Jacopo treated her. The more the man of the house acted cruel to her, the less weight her position as his wife held to the servants. Day in and day out, the maids worked busily, offered little opportunity for leisure, so they would naturally have accumulated quite a bit of stress, and she became the target for them to let off this stream. Not directly, but though a more subdued kind of harassment from the shadows. It's a bad situation for her. Poor thing. She must have felt quite miserable. I imagine she would have been better off as one of the maids. On the surface and in the front of others, they showed respect for her as Jacob's bride, but behind closed doors, they acted very much the opposite. The disparity between the treatment she received around the others, the treatment she was supposed to receive at all times, and the way she was actually treated made the abuse that much worse. And furthermore, as you have seen through the other doors, Master, she was a very reserved young woman. She could neither raise her voice in reprimand nor raise her hand in retaliation. I have to get this cleaned up. She extended her spindly fingers toward the shards of shattered porcelain. Ah, but even the broken cup seems to have no concern to spare for her. Its shattered edge cut her fingertip when she made to pick it up. A trickle of warm red blood ran across her unhealthy white skin. As painful a sight as it was, it had a sort of taboo beauty to it. The blood spilling from her finger showed no sign of slowing down. She clenched her hand into a fist, let out the sight, and went back to collecting the shards of porcelain. But when she did... Madame, what's the matter? Ah, madame, you are bleeding. While all the others may ignore her, one came running over, shouting to the white-haired girl's side. We need to get that cleaned and bandaged up. Oh, you don't need to pick that up. That's not your job, madam. It's all right, Maria. There's no much to pick up. It's not at all right. And the rest of you, why are you just standing there? Your boss wife him on her hands and knees, and you are not even lifting a finger to help her? Today my articulation, my face muscles just, it's hard to articulate properly. You disgust me. Maria, it's fine, really. Oh, madame. If you weren't so timid, this wouldn't happen. You are allowed to yell at them, you know? It's alright, really. It's my fault. Anyway, we should get that finger taken care of. Let's get you back to your room, okay? But the broken cups and the spill, as I said, that's the maid's work. Now, come on, let's go. Oh, okay. And the rest of you, get this mess cleaned up. She roared like the wind in a thunderstorm. The other maids stood there dumbfounded, watching as she and the white-haired girl disappeared down the hall. But they were soon flown in and grumbling to one another. She thinks she can act all high and mighty just because the master is fond of her. The woman's name was Maria. She was one of the maids, and she was the one person the mentioned white-haired girl could think of even a lie. Though her husband paid her no mind and the maids made her life miserable. Just one person, Maria, treated her with respect and kindness, and I am sure you can readily imagine just how much of a lifesaver that was for her. I too found myself somewhat relieved that Maria was there for her. Being a servant of this house, I was also one of the maids working there at the time. However, I was unable to involve myself to any great degree in her fate. That meant that there was little I could do to assist her even in times of pain and unpleasantness. The best I could do was pray that Maria would continue to lend the white-haired girl her hand. And that does it. Thank you, Maria. You're really such a big help. Oh no, no need to thank you. I just did what any good maid shall do. No one else is in the room, you know. Oh, right, then I can drop the act? Man, I just can't get used to talking all stuffy. I'm out there doing my best, but the head maids still spouting stuff like your manner of speaking inappropriate for a servant. Every single time we meet. Yes, come on, just show it, would ya? You're a damn creep. Uh, now you mustn't speak of her like that. Sorry, slip of the tongue. She just kinda gives me the willies, you know? Speaking of, you dropped the stuffy talk too, madame. Kinda awkward if only one of us is acting casual, you know? And this is normal for me. If I attempted to talk like you, I would freeze up of nervousness. This is my casual. Fair enough, guess that will happen when you're raised well. I like it though, has a very regal feel about it. I don't think my upbringing is the one factor. But you know, upbringing is important. Worth a whole lot more than money, I'd say. I suppose, thank you, Maria. You're always so compassionate. You betcha. They don't call me the Virgin Mary for nothing. I practically bleed compassion. You know that might be true. You very well could be the reincarnation of the Mother of God. Such blasphemy. No, you were supposed to laugh at that. It's just embarrassing if you take it seriously. Alone in the white-haired girl room, Maria was acted much more friendly, relaxed as they conversed, as opposed to her no-nonsense attitude in the hallway. The two women were, as you can see, quite close. They had closed over the wall, separating master from servant, and built a bond of friendship. And at some point they had begun to speak frankly with one another when no one else was around. Maria was the only person in the mansion around whom the white-haired girl felt comfortable being open. I imagine she very much employed these moments in conversation. You wish to know who the head maid was? My. Are you sure you want to ask me that, master? Some questions are better left unasked, for your own good. I have to say, madam, you have the prettiest fingers. Mine are all rough and dry and nasty. You think so? Mine haven't the slightest bit of muscle. They're all about as frail as dead branches. Oh, who needs beefy meats anyway? I still think healthy-looking hands like yours are far more attractive. What? What do you like about these things? Women all over the world dreams of having hands like yours. Slender, feminine, and perfectly cared for. I don't know, just looking at them light the fire in my loins. Oh. Make me wanna lick every last of them. Actually, say, can I lick him? Can I run my tongue up and don't all 10 of them sweet little digits? Come on, can I? What'd I say? Stop that, Maria, seriously. I'm kidding, I'm just kidding. Oh, Maria. Right, how did their tea leaves turn out, madam? The ones you imported? All the maids just adore it. They can't get enough of that aroma. I'd sure like to get a taste of it. If you end up with extra, you think you could spare a sip for me? That was in the cups I dropped. What, really? Well, ain't that a crying shame? And Jacopo wouldn't have any of it? God, why does that man have such a stick up in his his ass. You went through all the trouble of making it for him and he was busy. It's not his fault. Busy? You meant playing billiard, drinking bourbon and puffing a damn cigar? It may look to us like they are just making small talk, but I am certain their meeting has some importance to their business. It was imprudent of me to try to step into the man's world. That's just not right. I mean, you are his wife. Why shouldn't you be allowed into the room? It doesn't bother me. You don't have to pretend. Here's an idea. How would you like to have some of that tea now? We also have some orange marmalade which you liked so much. Add a scoop of that in a tray of cookies, and we have the perfect tea time. You are singing the siren song, madam. But you really shouldn't be doing that with him. He would not have tea. I suspect he does not like it. I don't want it to go to waste, so... Madam, I know it's none of my business, and I have no place at all saying this, but... It's not impossible for a woman to file a divorce these days. You don't have to sit down and take it, not one bit. You're pretty well educated and still young. There's hope even if you do leave him. There's plenty of other men out there. You aren't obligated to stick with that arrogant jerk. He's just very busy right now. There you go again. There was a time when he was kind. He wasn't like this when we first met. Back then he was a little awkward, but a kind man. A kind man? Yeah, believe it or not. There was indeed a time. Say, Maria, would you mind giving me a little bit more of your time? I'll make some tea and we can talk. Alright. If you're telling me about when Jacob was decent, I'm all ears. Indeed. As I'm sure you're aware, our parents arranged their marriage. Before I immigrated to this country to be married, I lived in the Misty Island nation. So, probably England. But I'm still not sure. Portraits of my ancestors hung in the house where I lived. I remember as a child wincing in fear at the sight of them staring down at me. My mother and father were constantly telling me to show them respect, as it was their hard work they kept our bloodline alive and well. However, they were fighting an uphill battle to do the same. It wouldn't have been clear to anyone reasonably perceptive that our house was coming tumbling down. Badly built furniture and painting slowly disappeared, and eventually the portraits were gone too. And as our house collapsed, so too did my parents' health deteriorate, robbing us of any source of income. And though I was educated, I lacked the skills necessary to obtain work. Just as we were about to run out of money and option, my parents received Jacob's parents' marriage proposition. Both our families stood to benefit from the arrangement. I had social status and he had wealth. We each had what the other lacked. Yeah, he definitely was wanting the status of her family, probably. But they already were poor. So yeah, this is arrangement marriage. One needs more than money to make it in the world. Without at least a semi-reputable name attached to you, you're liable to get laughed out of most social gatherings. I first met Jacoba here in this country. We didn't even know what the others looked like until our wedding day. To be quite honest, I was scared to death at first. I was so nervous. What kind of man would he be? Was I to be bad to some middle-aged stranger? Middle-aged, it's not that bad. We were not married because he had fallen in love like a normal couple. I knew I was in no position to be concerned with such things, but then I thought about our future. I shook with fear. But the man I saw through my veil at the weddings was remarkable. He was young, had strong, masculine eyes. Masculine eyes? Strange expression. At the same time, he too appeared nervous. He was shaken as much, no, even more than me. Seeing that, the priest gave an impish little smirk when he asked Jacopo if he vowed his eternal love to me. I counted myself among the happy, and I still do. For in that moment I experienced true love. You wanted to hear about when he was kind to me. Well, after the wedding we were given a week to ourselves. I suppose you could call it a honeymoon, though we didn't take a trip overseas or even go very far at all. He looked at me with uncertainty and asked, "Where would you like to go?" I beg your pardon? That's what this week is for, right? I'll consider granting your request, so tell me where you want to go. This is all so sudden. Nothing. Well, this whole arrangement was spur of the moment. Normally we wouldn't have planned the trip in advance, but unfortunately our purpose is served so long as we act the part. You must be disappointed that you have to plan your honeymoon as it happening. No, What? Speak clearly. I don't like it when people don't speak their mind. I am sorry, but I'm happy, even if this is a political marriage. Well, you're quite the positive thinker. Your parents say something to make you think that way? Well, either way, if you're so glad to be in this arrangement, then hurry up and decide on a destination. Oh, he's so sweet. Even from the beginning. In the beginning. Though there is a limit to how far we can go. If you want to take a trip, I'll consider it. What, is something funny? It just seems comical to me that our honeymoon had begun and we are only how decided where we want to go. Not in a bad way, though. I'm glad our parents did arrange everything for us. Perhaps you've heard, but I am quite sensitive to sunlight and I am not in the best of health, so it would be rather trying for me to spend a full week out of the house. We couldn't go a trip, but if it's not too much trouble. Speak up. Could you show me around town? I am new to this country and familiar with its customs, and I'm rather afraid to go wandering about on my own. Show you around? Yes. Would that be possible? On a rare bit of time off, you ask me to show you around town? Is that really the most exciting idea you have? I'm sorry. If there is something you would like to go, I am fine with that. I will accompany you anywhere. As if I could drag someone who just professed to being sickly all over the country. My God, I've lost all interest in a trip. Hello, what are you doing? Go get ready now. I beg your pardon? Didn't you want to see the town? You will show me around? You are the one who asked. Not like I have any other options, so yeah, I'll show you around. Thank you. Don't just stand there, you dullard. Get a move on. One moment, wait for me, please. Yay, he's so romantic. He hurriedly climbed the carriage he had called for, a look of frustrated displeasure on his face. And then, as if he had forgotten about me until that moment, he returned, grabbed me by the arm, and led me to the carriage. In retrospect, I realized he was not being very gentlemanly. Oh, really? You think? But I was pleased that he was making any attempt to interact with me at all. When the carriage trotted down the streets, I saw so many new things. I had spent most of my time cooped up inside that house, so it was like stepping into an entirely new world. And add to that the rapid industrial advancement currently taking place, I saw men shouting back and forth that they smacked a newspaper article with the backs of their hands. I saw corner cafes crowded with a cigar-smoking man on break from work. It was like the hustle and bustle of a festival. But every festival had its underside. And also I saw overworked men looked like they were on the verge of collapse, drinking water from a spigot on the side of the road. But by way of contrast, I wore fine clothing, and had a carriage at my disposal. I imagine every day was a struggle for them just to remain afloat. Had I not married the man I had, I too might have found myself on the streets in a similar situation. But it was not a relief that spanned though my breast at the sight of them. It was pain of guilt. It felt to me like a life of opulence was wrong, sinful. It broke my heart to know that I was living so much better than them. Jacob snorted disapprovingly at me, seemingly reading my mind, and then said, "The poor man were envious the rich, counted his wealth, and find the ambition to make the same for himself, and the rich man who pities the poor, thinking is his duty to give them offering of philanthropy. To me the latter is the far more nefarious. Excessive charity will ruin a man, make him come to expect handouts. And then there's those with the wrong idea of pity who let themselves fall down to the same place, mistakenly believe it will somehow make the poor feel better. What's a joke? If you are going to do anything for them, you might as well encourage them to climb upward, spur on economic growth and the flow of capital. Doesn't that sound like the better option? I said nothing, simply smiling and giving the ambiguous nod. He had a point. My sympathy and guilt meant nothing to people actually experience hardship. Feeling guilty of my own fortune, I acted upon that pity in the way he had described it would accomplish little more than self-satisfaction. He seems to have seen straight through or to my very core. This was a man who had built his own fortune through investment, which I imagined required him to be rather astute. But doesn't the world, where everyone is constantly trying to climb higher and higher, sound rather exhausting? I personally wouldn't prefer to be in a position where I could watch, if only for a distance, as others climbed. But obviously I could not say as much to him. Sometimes later, the carriage came to a stop in front of the shop. As I looked at the building perplexedly, he gestured to the door with his chin, signaling for me to get out. Lost and confused, I stepped down from the carriage, and before me spread the showcase behind the large glass windows. However, lined up in the case were not precious metals or expensive clothing, but machines. At first, I had no idea what kind of device they were. Have you never had your photo taken before? No, I have had a portrait painted, though. As there were machines for taking photographs. A portrait? Huh? Why am I not surprised? I did not mean to boast. Go on, get in. Ah, please, wait. Wait for me. The owner came out to greet us with a wide smile as we entered the shop. Well, this ain't the strangest thing I ever seen all day. You're bringing a lady, and a real looker at that. Where on earth did you catch this pretty little thing? She's my wife. Huh? Well, I beg your pardon? I'll be a monkey's uncle. Just goes to show you'll never know where the cards may fall. You're making it sound like my getting married is some kind of a miracle. I always saw you as one to choose money over love, sir. Oh, pardon me, this is appropriate to say in front of your wife. Do you often come to this shop? On occasion, I need some things here from time to time. I see. And there you go smirking again. What's so funny? We are going to have our photo taken, yes? I'm so nervous and excited I've never had one before. And to have it taken side by side with you? What are you talking about? Pardon? Who said we were getting our pictures taken? And side by side, please. You're sending shivers down my spine. But this is a photography shop. Hey, shopkeep. The product I contacted you about, is it ready? Oh, yup. Sit tight, I'll be right out. You take a seat. There's a chair over there. What? I'm going to show you something much more exciting than sitting still and waiting in front of a camera lens. Oh. Just do as I say. Okay. I sat down in front of a large mirror, which I presume was normally used to check your appearance before having your pictures taken. Sitting before a mirror when someone else present was quite nerve-wracking. Out of embarrassment, I dropped my gaze to my knees. But when Jacob returned, I was embraced by the curious object in his hands. What is that? What is this? Do you know what persistence of vision is? I don't know. The human eye doesn't perceive the world 100% accurately. This is especially true for objects in motion. It remembers images for a short time, so if you put a new image in the same place, your eyes perceives in motion. Seeing for yourself would be faster than explaining it. You see the slits in the disc? Look through the bottom one into the mirror. Okay. Good, just like that, bring your head in close. Here goes. Standing behind me, he slid his finger across the top of the peculiar toy, causing it to spin gracefully. And then... Oh. Moving pictures. Ah. So what do you see? They are dancing. A man and woman are dancing. Sound like you are not having any trouble seeing it. And they are dancing well? Yes, they are. It's the most adorable thing. What adorable? That's fine. I asked to have it model it after a ballroom dance. Yes, it's a very elegant dance. But you see, there's a small, little dwarfs. Dwarfs? Which I thought was kind of cute. And they seem so close, going around and around without even letting go of each other's hands. This is incredible. What does it look like they are dancing? They were all lined in a row a few moments ago. Goodness, I just explained it to you. It's playing a trick on your eyes. What do you see? It's a lot of different pictures in a short period of time. To put it in the word you might understand better, it's an illusion. Your eyes are being fooled into thinking the image is moving. An illusion? But they're dancing, they really are. And they look like they're having a wonderful time. Are you sure it's an illusion and not something else? To me that not seem to be. It cannot see as anything but too many people dancing. That's how it works. Reach out your hand and try to grab them. You won't be able to. You're right. That's a shame. I didn't think you were actually built. But it's the most precious thing. They look as if they're dancing atop my palm. I was mesmerized by the strange phenomenon. Pictures were moving after all. Still images had begun dancing before me. It was almost as if God had breathed life into them. He had called it an illusion, but I could not grasp that. It was such an adorable, heartwarming sight. I imagined the two were of living in some other world separate from our own. They looked so happy. I was almost certain that they were of dancing in their joyous world, free from all the sorrow, loneliness, and the palm of this one, in pain. Eventually, the speed at which their rhythm got slower that they were resting their legs. I almost thought I could hear the sound of their feet with each step. They're stopped. They can dance forever, they don't get tired. I see. I am amazed that such an incredible device exists in this world. This makes me wish I had gone outside sooner. I'm sure someone from a distinguished house as yours had seen plenty of amazing things with your family. Hardly. I rarely even left the house. I'm ignorant about the ways of the world. If you had not told me, I would have probably never known about moving pictures, the illusion of moving pictures. Do you like it? Yes, of course. More than the portrait you had painted? Yes, I do. The painting was wonderful too, but you can seem to make up your mind. Go on, tell me, which do you like better, the portrait of this? I like this better. I see. He looks somewhat pleased. Though when it seems down to it, this is a trick of only a child would fall for. Then I suppose it make me a child. If it means I get to watch something as splendid as two tiny people dancing, I'll happily fall for the trick. Quite describing it as two tiny people dancing, you are going to lose your head that far up in the clouds. I'm sorry. I do not know how else to describe it though. It's a toy called a phenakistoscope. Damn word. Phenakistoscope. Damn. Phenakistoscope. Phenakistoscope. Well, close enough. It was invented around 30 years ago. 30 years ago. I had the shopkeep make one model after the original design. Sorry. So the shop owner drew this? He did. A lot better than you'd expect, isn't it? Isn't he? Yes, indeed. I'm surprised he could draw something so cute. So that his face and he'll go red as a beet. Would I give to get a load of that? You should tell him the next time you see him. He's a sweet man. Despite how he looks human, it's not right to judge people based on their appearance. I'm just kidding. Don't take it too seriously. The shopkeep here loves new technology. That Thenakith... It's just like a torture for me. Thenakistoscope is one such invention that caught his eye. You can trick the eyes into thinking, drawing, or moving. Using a sequence of photos, you can perhaps make it seem that although real people are moving too. And if it becomes possible to show those images to many people at once, the developments could broaden the option artists have to express themselves. Oh. It's definitely some prehistoric thing for cinema in general. Because cinema in general is just moving frames, after all. So this is ancestor of cinema. No drawing but photographs? Yeah, photos. But taking hundreds or perhaps thousands of photographs, it will be possible to reproduce the world as we see it. This room, people walking down the streets. There's no point in recording important everyday life though. If you're gonna leave the record of everything behind, it should be the project and enterprises that move nations. Say, for example, a moving record of the opening ceremony of the railroad. That would be something worth watching. And then, in time, it will expand beyond the mere record keeping technology, find its way into the hands of artists. Again, coming of the first train. It was the first movie. Not common. Arriving of the train. Yeah. Is such a thing possible? You must remain still for a long time just to take a single photograph. Right now, it isn't. But eventually it will be. And I am not simply fantasizing here. Is that so? It sounds very futuristic. Do you... what? Do you want to support people who work and that sort of thing? Is that why you are friends with the owner? It has nothing to do with my wants. I merely think there's money in it. The rich starve for entertainment and artists created entertainment. I have no interest in their pretentious self-expression. I just want their money. What's so funny? You look like you're enjoying yourself. Honestly, it's just about the money, as you say. Maybe deep in his heart, he's want to support the artist and the art in general. But on the surface, he's just a greedy man who obsessed with money in general. Alright, let's go moving. Next is dinner. What, we're leaving already? Does this displease you? No, not at all. To tell you the truth, I want to spend a little more time playing with the Thananik's wheel, but I could not bring myself to say it as much. Reluctantly, I approached the owner to return the wheel. Don't bother. Bring it with you. Oh, but if you don't want it, that's fine too. Just make your decision quickly. You're making the driver wait. Having said that, Jacob exited the shop. I alternated between looking at his back and the Thanak's wheel, debating what I want to do. And then, with a smile, the owner whispered to me, "You are allowed to keep it, really. Your husband thought that there had it make as a gift for you." For me? A little while back, he came to my shop asking if I could make a Thanakithoscope. Now that about knocked me out of my chair. He's a man who almost never asks for favors. He's pretty damn brusque, and he's got a tongue sharp enough to cut steel, but he's not Weak to his core, I swear it. So please, ma'am, be a pillar of support for him. Unfortunately, his kindness disappeared really quickly. In that moment, the Thanak's will became a precious treasure to me. He had only just married days earlier, and yet he had commissionated for me without even knowing what I looked like. I was filled with the warm, pleasant elation. I agreed with the owner. Jacoba was not a bad man. He merely had difficulty expressing himself. Hurrying back to the carriage, I gave him my deepest thanks. He glanced over at me for a moment, then turned back toward the windows and muttered, "Yeah." From there, we went to a restaurant for dinner. You call this a pizza? The crust is an atrocity. It's like I'm chewing on rubber. How can you, with my country's flag, as not serve spaghetti? Do you have any shame at all? This wine is pitifully unbalanced, far too high levels of acidity. Listen to me carefully. The house wine is the face of a restaurant. He complained about every little thing. It was a complete disaster, but curiously enough, I was not at all put off by his behavior. When he said, the carriage made its way to the nearby hill. The cool night-time breeze felt wonderful on my skin, flashed from the alcohol, and the light from the gas lamps had a comforting warmth to it. Though Jacoba had complained about the quality of the wine once he had intoxicated himself, his mood improved visibly. It made him unexpectedly talkative. Look out at the city. A gloomy town that shuts down at night isn't suited to expression or growth. But this city isn't like that. You can see people walking beneath lamps, and you can hear the bustle of them talking. This is a city that still has plenty of room to grow. As they ride the rising wave of the economy, many more people will gather here. More people means more money in circulation. More money in circulation in the city grows, companies are founded, and more goods are brought and sold. Will it really change so drastically? It can be difficult to see what's happened from the side. The majority of people just go about their daily lives, and the next thing they know, things are different. No, I'd wager most don't notice the changes at all. Only those with eyes sharp enough to realize what's happening can seize success. I cannot afford to overlook even the most minute change. Do you have a dream of some good kind? A dream? I am not sure that it's easy enough to attain to call a dream. Others might call it greed or perhaps ambition. Don't laugh now. My intention is to make the world mine. Oh, he's too ambitious. The world? Yes, the world. And to do that, you need neither physical strength nor kindness, but money and influence. People have no choice but to kneel before those forces. Why are you so intent on obtaining power? Because I want to change my country, I imagine. Your country? You are aware that I, like you, an immigrant, right? I immigrated from an island in the Mediterranean. Though not the same island as you. My country is a peculiar place where candor and violence go hand in hand. As a whole, the country is on the poor side and nobody does anything about it. I am one of but a few of my fellow countrymen who has set his sight on the New World. They're fallen far beyond other nations. If I find success here, perhaps it will catch their attention. But if it doesn't, then my country is doomed to collapse. You have much love for your homeland. My feelings are a little more complicated than mere love. But there's nothing you need to concern yourself with. Well, I'll have to remember not to get myself drunk around the woman again. Forget everything I just said. It's about time to head back to the house. Alright, but, what is it? Is it alright if I provide your encouragement if you try to attend your dream? I know my precious presence is more likely to be hindrance, but I would like to be there to watch as you trek forward. I suppose do as you wish. Thank you. You have my support then. Darling? Sent a shiver down my spine, though not as unpleasant one. I am glad to have you as my partner. I was without a doubt happy then. He smiled. The things he said, the Thananicus will he gave me, they were all undeniably real. And those memories give me the will to wait for the day things go back to the way they were. They allow me to believe. But unfortunately it was a mirage. With a strange transition. This is something that actually happened to another mate. She heard the sound in the middle of the night, a sound like dripping water. At first she thought it was raining, so he looked through the windows and there wasn't a cloud in the sky to cover the stairs. Maybe that forced it. She thought she stepped out of her room and into the corridor. Compared to her room, it was unearthly chilly. Unearthly chilly. The maid regretted not bringing something to cover herself with, but that didn't make any sense. Normally, the temperature wasn't that much colder outside her room. Her nightclothes had always been more than enough for a trip to the lavatory. Wondering that the reason could be, she made her way toward the sound, but then she realized something. There were no faucets in the direction she was going, rather she was headed toward the hall. The mansion where she should had many halls, but this one was off in the far corner of the house, the least used hall of all that. It had a higher roof, but not a lot of space, so it was difficult to have good use of. It also had a somewhat heavy air to it, a very curious room. It was the kind of place you might assign someone to clean as part of their hazing. Anyway, when the maid realized the sound was coming from that particular hall, she, as you might expect, let out an uncomfortable sigh. But theirs might be a leak, and having noticed, she couldn't simply ignore it, So, as much as she hesitated, she pushed open the doors to the hall. There was nobody there, and it didn't look like anything was leaking either. There were no puddles of water stained anywhere to be found. But she couldn't still bear the sound, drip, getting louder and louder. Slowly stepping further into the room, looking left and then right and then left again, she searched for the source of the sound, coming to a stop in the center of the hall. She stood there still quiet, and then chilly spot on the nape of her neck. With a little yelp, she reached back to feel her neck, but it wasn't wet. Confused, she slowly worrily titled her head backward. Oh! What the? And there hung the bloody skeleton from the ceiling. Ah! That's rich. Amazing, oh my god, you scream like a little girl. Maria, you're little. My god, you're mental children. This is my house, and I would rather you didn't talk about it like that. Whose word were those again? Shut your mouth, how do you know about it? Were you eavesdropping? Eavesdropping? And another thing, I do not care for the sort of stupid fantastical tales you women so love to pass around. Because they scare you? You're never been able to handle anything scary, Jacob. Grrr. Whoa. Don't glare at me like that, you're gonna destroy my sides. So, did he come here for the sole purpose of telling me the sheep tribe? My first thought about this scene, maybe this girl, Maria, his true love, but because she don't have any social status, he made her a mate, but married to this white-haired girl. Who knows? Let's find out. Did you come here from a sheep tribe? Acting tough after the fact just makes you look like twice as much of a wuss. Well, I mean, I did make up a good half of it, but the mate really did hear a sound in the middle of the night, and it came from the back hall of this very mansion. Did you know they say it used to be a chapel? Again, I have no interest in your woman's little ghost stories. Is that so? You're sure you are not just scared? Maria. Well, let's say the rumors are completely unfounded. This is a little mansion, and it had a lot of work done on it. Kinda feel like it's barely holding itself together. Like a big old quilt with pieces from all different time periods. The back hall is one of the oldest patches. There's a huge window on the far end, and supposedly there used to be stained glass in it. It was a depiction of an archangel, they say. Such a shame, I wonder when it was broken. If it were still there, I bet it would be worth a fortune. I found it hard to believe. First of all, just will anyone put the chapel inside the mansion? You've got a point, I guess. Now how about you do some actual work instead of distracting yourself with all this nonsense? I do work, but the other maids can be a bit nasty, you know? Dealing with other women is like walking on glass. Am I to blame for that? What if I said you were? Haha, don't give me that look. They're just not fond of me, simple as that. Nothing you can do about it. Is that so? Oh yeah, I was telling the madam, and she was telling me you used to be quite the gentleman. Were you perhaps actually in love back then? You sure don't act like it, so it's easy to miss, but I guess you are not made entirely out of steel. Just like when you were younger, you are still... Do not speak of that. The past is not worth remembering, is it not unnecessary? So to you, the past exists just to be cast aside? Nah, it's not important. You don't want me to talk about it, I won't talk about it. But your wife... Never mind. I'll leave you be. I have to get back to work soon, or I'll be staring down the headsman's arctic smile. Alright. If the fancy strikes me, I'll drop by and we can trade more ghost stories. Maria. What? Another ghost stories? No, not that. I haven't forgotten those days. But not if I'll be off then. Alright. If the fancy strikes, you drop by and we can trade something other than ghost stories. Haha. What I'll tell ya? I consider it. Goodbye. God damn it. I can't escape anything. And again, I think it's a good time to make another pause to the next time. Maybe it will be tomorrow because I skipped. I have skipped the last stream on Wednesday, so maybe tomorrow evening will be okay. But I think about it later. So thank you for watching. Record on or online. See you next time. Bye bye.